What's with those shabby clothes? You should go home. When I was headed to the piano competition with my daughter, a mom friend made some snide remarks. But before we could say anything back, her son looked at my daughter's clothes with a shocked expression.
Mom, that person is a millionaire.
Hearing those words, the mom friend let out a gasp of surprise, attracting the gazes of those around us. Ignoring the stares, the mom friend demanded to know why. So, I reluctantly confessed. I am Cassie Miller, 37 years old. I work as a freelance designer. I have a husband and a daughter, and my daughter Kate turned 7 this year. Kate recently started going to elementary school and made many friends. It seems she started to dream of becoming a pianist under the influence of those friends. To support Kate's dream, I decided to enroll her in a piano school. My husband didn't particularly oppose, so she's been practicing diligently. Recently, my husband even bought a grand piano for the house because he wanted to hear Kate play. At that piano school, I made a mom friend. Most people there are very gentle and kind, but there is one who stands out. Amy Jones, a mother of 2. She usually has a refined ambience, and it seems like everything she owns is high-end. Her son Robert seems to have a talent for piano, which boosts her high-handed attitude. However, Robert is a quiet boy who doesn't assert himself much, so Kate didn't dislike him. As they attended the school, Kate and Robert seemed to get along well, and I spent more time with Amy. At the same time, I became her target more often.
Oh my, you're wearing those shabby clothes again today.
Amy said that to me as soon as she entered the classroom. I greeted Amy with a wry smile, and she started talking incessantly. The topic was about how she dressed in exquisite items. Last week, I believe, she talked about how wonderful her life was. While thinking such things, I tried to end the conversation with a smile, but Amy's talk didn't stop. I think it would be better to listen quietly since everyone's practicing the piano. When I asked that way, Amy paused for a moment, but then snorted and said coldly that there was no need.
Because my child is the best. No one minds if we talk until Robert's turn comes. The child's play now is just horrible. How can they keep attending this piano school?
Amy's sarcasm echoed through the classroom. Amy didn't notice the terrifying glare from the mother of the girl playing now. I tried to cover by saying I think she's playing well, but Amy's sarcasm didn't stop.
You should realize your child has no talent too. It's good to support children's dreams, but unachievable dreams are the most futile. If you're a mother, you should teach them that.
It's fine. I want her to do it until she's satisfied.
Oh, really? If that's what you think, fine. Oh, but please, don't take out your jealousy on my child.
Amy said that with a sneer. I let out a short sigh at Amy's nasty attitude. Lately, Amy always belittles me like this. She hasn't changed since we met, but now she doesn't even hide her hostility. The reason is that Kate's efforts are unexpectedly bearing fruit. The piano teacher also had high expectations for her and encouraged her to actively participate in competitions and contests. Kate has improved significantly, and in just a short time, she became as good as Robert, who was the best in the class. Amy felt anxious about that. So she started making snide remarks, and I was fed up. Kate and Robert had a competition coming up soon. This piano competition was a pretty big event in the city, held on a big stage, and Robert and Kate were selected from our piano school. The joy of being chosen made Kate practice even more diligently. One day after a piano lesson, I realized I had left something in the classroom. Holding Kate's hand, I retraced our steps. Then I heard voices in the classroom. It was Amy and the teacher.
Kate is not even close to Robert's level in skill. And she's only been attending this school for a few months, right? How much did they pay you?
Amy's yelling was audible, even in the hallway where we stood, as the classroom door was open. Wondering what was going on, I hurried into the classroom. Is there something wrong? I asked, and Amy turned around abruptly. Beside her, Robert looked troubled and downcast.
It's not just something. You need to withdraw from this competition.
I was shocked and widened my eyes at her words. Amy then said, high-handedly,
I don't want people to think this school where Robert attends is of low level. It's embarrassing to play next to such an amateur-level pianist. Besides, Kate has only been attending this school for a few months. I don't think she has the skill to compete.
I retorted to Amy's arbitrary comments, asking why she would say such things. Kate may not have a lot of skill yet, but she has been working hard, so it's nothing to be ashamed of. Kate looked worried hearing Amy's words. She was already nervous about her first big competition, and saying such things face to face was too much. For the first time, I felt I couldn't forgive Amy from the bottom of my heart. Don't belittle Kate like that. She has been practicing hard and improving her skills, so you have no right to say such things. However, Amy just furrowed her brows in displeasure.
You should quit before you embarrass yourself.
We won't be embarrassed, I replied immediately. Perhaps upset by my attitude, Amy stormed out of the classroom in a huff. After glaring at Amy's back, I comforted the worried-looking Kate and went home. Honestly, I'm fed up with Amy's tyranny. Even at home, my anger didn't subside, and I ended up venting to my husband that day. And on the day of the competition, since about 4 professional pianists were coming, the venue was bustling with people from the morning. I prepared my daughter's outfit for this day. Of course, I designed it myself. Kate, dressed in the dress I designed, looked more vibrant and radiant than usual.
Mom, do I look cute?
Of course. I'm glad I got it ready in time. While having such a conversation, Robert and Amy entered the dressing room. Kate quickly ran to Robert and they encouraged each other. Robert, while saying he wouldn't lose, casually complimented Kate's dress, saying it was cute. Kate blushed happily and ran back to my side, feeling shy. As I was comforted by such a heartwarming scene, Amy, as usual, greeted me with a malicious smile. Today she was exceptionally flashy, and I thought Amy's outfit stood out more than Robert's.
Good day. Oh, did you come to embarrass yourself?
Are you still saying that? Enough already. Amy lightly ignored my annoyed words and stared at me, assessing me from head to toe. I averted my eyes from her unpleasant gaze, but she laughed loudly, which prevented me from ignoring her.
What's with those shabby clothes?
That's rude. I reflexively sat back and met Amy's eyes again. Taking advantage of this, Amy spoke again to make a sarcastic comment.
Is it not? Then which brand is it from?
It's a no-brand item.
No brand? You came to your daughter's competition in such clothes? Embarrassing. Poor Kate, born in a poor family.
I was appalled by Amy's triumphant tone. I wanted to retort, but coming all the way here to have a quarrel was out of place. Thinking that, I held back and ignored her. Even with no-brand clothes, they can look glamorous depending on the combination. Besides, my daughter is the star today, so there's no need for me to stand out.
Excuses? How pitiful. By the way, my outfit today is custom made. Of course, Robert's outfit was also tailored for today. Well, Cassie, since your family is poor, I bet you can't afford custom-made clothes. Your daughter's clothes must be mass-produced items bought around here, right? Not bad taste, but it's too simple and looks plain, don't you think?
I was annoyed by Amy's sneering laugh. I said back that my daughter's outfit was specially prepared, but Amy didn't believe me. Instead, she glared at us and started making a fuss, saying we were out of place. Amy's loud voice echoed in the dressing room, and everyone turned their gazes towards us. I was upset and was ready to argue back, but then I noticed Kate looking up at me with a worried face. Seeing that, I realized that if I caused a scene with Amy here, it would embarrass Kate, so I held back and kept my mouth shut.
Goodbye,
Amy said mockingly and made a shooing gesture. Beside Amy, Robert pointed with a shocked face.
Mom, that person is a millionaire.
Amy was stunned by Robert's words. Amy looked puzzled while Robert looked at Kate intently, his eyes sparkling.
You call her poor, but this dress is newly released from a popular brand.
I was surprised. I never thought Robert would know such a thing. Seeing Robert like that, Amy was flustered.
Oh, really? But that doesn't mean Cassie is a millionaire. After all, I can buy a new dress too. No, this dress can't be bought. It's because the designer made it specifically for her daughter. I saw the design sketch posted on social media before. And earlier, Kate told me that this was a dress her mom designed. What? A dress designed by Cassie? What does that mean?
Amy stared at me in confusion, and I reluctantly admitted it. Then Kate leaned forward and started talking on my behalf.
My mom is a designer. She made this dress for me for today. I knew it. That's amazing. I'm a big fan.
What he showed was a handkerchief I had just sold recently. Robert looked like he genuinely was a fan, and he was more talkative than his usual quiet self. As Robert said, even though I am a freelance designer, I have my own brand. I started by selling designs I liked personally. What began as a small business became more recognized about a year ago, and now it's a famous brand. With my skills acknowledged, I've been collaborating with various places. Thanks to that, my income has skyrocketed compared to when I worked for a company. However, it's still not widely recognized by the general public. It's something only known to people who regularly read fashion magazines. I wondered how Robert knew about it. Seeing me wondering, Robert scratched his head shyly and confessed.
I want to become a designer too.
I widened my eyes in surprise. I always thought Robert was going to be a pianist. His talent was recognized, and he seemed to have a bright future ahead in that field. But his eyes, looking straight at me, were serious.
Being a pianist is my mom's dream. I've always liked drawing, but I don't have much talent. Even though I study and practice, I'm not good at it. So I kept it a secret from Mom. Mom says it's sad to dream without talent.
Robert said with a laugh, but he looked somewhat sad. Then Amy shouted at Robert with a loud voice.
What are you talking about? Robert, you're going to be a pianist. You have talent for piano. Mom is guiding you so that you won't have to face sadness in the future. Got it? So never say such a thing again.
Amy hysterically shouted, and Robert looked down with a troubled face. Amy wanted everything to go her way. Her loud voice seemed to reach the hallway. A crowd had gathered, and I heard whispering voices around us. Among them were many people wearing designs I had created. If this escalated, it would affect my brand image. It might also impact the children participating in the competition. However, Amy couldn't calm down and kept yelling at me, saying I had bad taste. To stop her, I took a deep breath. Enough already. When I sharply said that, Amy gasped in surprise. If you keep causing a scene here, it's a nuisance. Hearing my words, Amy finally noticed the annoyed gazes from those around us. I let out a sigh of relief and spoke quietly to Amy. Amy, if you are seriously aiming to be a pianist, you should know that causing a scene in the dressing room would affect the performance. Knowing this, would you still keep yelling? When I said that, Amy pouted and fell silent. Still, she looked like she might snap back, so I decided to give her a warning. By the way, the dress you're wearing was made by me a long time ago. It's a design I created with someone else at the time, so it's not under my brand name. But because the flashy dresses didn't suit the current consumer's preferences, the brand soon declined. But I remember making it. When I said that, Amy's face turned red, and she started sweating. At that time, I was just making what was requested, but I'm glad you liked it. When I said that, Amy's face became more flustered, and her eyes wandered. Also, I think it's inappropriate to interfere with someone's education, but please, don't deny Robert's dreams. My parents told me I couldn't make a living as a designer, which made me very miserable. So if you don't want to make Robert sad, please, don't do that. Just as I finished saying that, Kate's teacher entered the dressing room. The teacher looked a bit surprised by the commotion, but quickly approached us and informed us that it was almost time for our turn. So I left Kate in the teacher's care and suggested to Amy that we should leave. Amy obediently followed my suggestion. She probably wanted to leave quickly after being told off and drawing so much attention. In the hallway, an awkward atmosphere lingered, but I suggested to Amy that we go to our seats, and we headed to the venue together. After arriving at the venue, I watched the performances quietly until our children's turn, while keeping an eye on the now silent Amy. The competition ended successfully. Kate did well, but didn't come in first. Still, she was satisfied with her efforts, so I suggested we celebrate with a special meal. After the competition, Amy just said a brief goodbye and left. Amy didn't have the energy she had this morning, and she seemed a bit downcast. Robert didn't come in first either. The next day, Robert asked me how I studied design, so I handed him a few easy-to-understand books that I use as references. When asked what Amy said, it seems she reflected on my words yesterday and told Robert that she wouldn't force him anymore. After that, it seems Amy was strongly reprimanded by Kate's teacher for what happened in the dressing room. It also became known to other parents, and Amy became quite subdued, probably feeling embarrassed. But thanks to that, she became easier to get along with than before, and the children remained good friends, so I will continue to stay mom friends with her. Then, at one of the subsequent competitions, Kate won first place for the first time. By then, Amy had completely changed her attitude and sincerely congratulated her. Also, Amy stopped interfering with Robert's dreams. I occasionally teach Robert about colors and clothing designs. Robert enjoys studying design very much, so I believe he will become a wonderful designer in the future. Robert is eager to create dresses for Kate when she becomes a pianist. Hearing those words, Kate looked very happy, which made me happy as well.